Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Mr. Secretary Chris Mellon, would you please take the roll call?
Luke Rich, absent. Mr. Jeffrey Swike.
Here.
Ms. Chandler Felton is absent. Mr. Pettit.
Here.
I myself am here. Vice President Daring.
Here.
Madam President Uzelak.
I am here, thank you.
There's 5. We have a quorum.
Okay, continuing on, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of November 18th, 2025?
So moved. Second.
Okay, the motions have been approved with the first and the second motion, thank you. Do we have any communication from the board members?
All those in favor?
Oh, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Good. Okay, the minutes have been approved. Any communications from the board members?
So, Madam President, we do have one, but we'll wait till we get to the petition.
I didn't understand you.
We
What?
do have a communication, but we'll wait till we get to the petitioner.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Sheila. Okay, and I have no comments myself. Underneath old business, we will continue on with the agenda. Item P2PS1-0325. Haviland Properties LLC petitioner and owner located at 2003 East Main Street. Request preliminary one-lot subdivision approval on 21.32 acres in a M-1 limited industrial zoning district. The purpose is to allow storage buildings, 9, I believe, correct? Okay, continue on with your program. You've been here before. Tell us some more.
All right, good evening. Adam McAlpine with McAlpine Consulting. My address is 398 East, 400 North in Valparaiso.
I'm Jack Havlin, 3711 44th Street, Highland, Indiana.
Here tonight for your approval on this project. We've been through this project several times together. 2 weeks ago, we met for the work session, and we have looked into things since then and happy to provide some updates on the project. I don't intend to give an overview of the project so that you can work through your agenda unless you have questions. But kind of going one by one, there were some questions related to the fire truck turning movements. We made a shift on one of the buildings and looked at our auto turns again. Everything is in proper order there. We've modified the exterior parking due to those turning movements. We've also pointed out where the dry fire hydrants are located, and we've been in coordination with Robinson Engineering on that topic. Coordination was made with the councilwoman for this district through Sheila Shine. My understanding is the comment or the feedback that was received was wanted to make sure that the landscaping plan was in proper order, and in front of you is a rendering that shows the landscaping plan, and I think it exceeds the town standards, and we have the facade, which will be visible to the public, is better than the one that's within the interior of the storage complex. There were some comments and questions related to the suitability of the soils. The soils have been studied by K&S soil scientists to make sure that the proposed foundations, which are really supporting pretty light structures, but despite that, they will be supported properly. And as is typical, if there are issues that are encountered during construction, K&S is available to advise the client. There were some questions related to, what am I missing, Jack? Besides that, just a general comment that the project wouldn't be at this point unless it had already been reviewed for engineering matters and for drainage matters everything is draining to the north, and that outlet drains to the west and then south through the airport property. But we've gone through a number of steps to get to this point. We're excited to move forward. Timeframe for this project is talking to my client, and still to be determined. But I think, right now, we're just trying to get the approvals in place so that he can come up with a plan for how he intends to move forward into construction. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, board members, Mr. Swight, questions?
Nothing at this time.
Pardon?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Brian?
Okay, first up, if you guys want to, I'd like them to read the notes from Chief Yurga about the dry hydrant system before we go any further.
So late this afternoon, this evening, we received this correspondence from Chief Yerger. And number one, we have required all previous storage units development to have fire hydrants. Number two, the proposed dry hydrant system that would be located between building F and G would not be feasible to protect the entire complex due to the location. It only comes into play tactically to protect building B, C, D, E, and J. Number three, historically, our experience with dry hydrant type system is they become unreliable over time. Initially, we will require the system to be inspected and maintained on a schedule that is required by the fire system professionals. The problem with this is that it may work initially, but over time, these inspections somehow fall to the wayside and create future problems. Storage units being built of wood frame construction and the unknown fire load of these types of units create problems for us without reliable, sustainable water supply. In conclusion, without on-site city water supply by fire hydrant, I cannot adequately protect this property. So I received that, Adam, late this evening, and and I discussed it with Bob, and they were okay, but it's still up to the Plan Commission. They were okay with the civil portion of it.
Okay.
But it's up to the Plan Commission to make a decision based on Chief Yerger.
Well, you have your fire professional saying this is an inadequate system, so I don't know what you want to do, but.
Yeah, that's my first question. Guys, anything from engineering or?
Really, no, Brian. We're still, preliminary, nothing's been finalized, but these comments from, Chief Yerger are pretty powerful and pretty troubling. And when I talked to them today about these dry hydrant systems, they're, completely unreliable. We've got one in town, up by Hickory Ridge Apartments that doesn't work and hasn't worked for years because it was never maintained. And they just can't protect it. I don't know, but if, I don't even know if your fire chief is saying they can't protect the building, I don't even know how you get insurance or anything on something like that.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know how that works.
Response?
I've got a thought. This is news to us. We just heard this
I'm
with
sorry.
everybody else. I mean, they come late in the day.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I
For whatever reason, they
apologize.
came late in the day. Obviously, I think that's something is a concern of mine too. It's something that needs to be addressed before we can continue with this. Don't you agree, Adam? I mean, if we got a fire issue, it's gonna have to be something that we have to address. Now, whether it's bringing a water source or adding more, he's saying the dry hydrants aren't reliable. I don't know if they work for code or not, but they don't cover the whole property. Sounds like he can't even reach a couple of the buildings with the location of them. So whether it's adding more or coming up with a different system, I don't know, but my thought is, this is news to us. So we got, obviously, I have no real good input on this because it's news to us.
Well, I think it's,
Oh, I'm sorry,
why don't at this time we move to defer? Let the petitioners have more time to evaluate their fire system. Give them an exact copy of the comments that were provided by Chief Yurga. But I think what he's saying in a nutshell is, to read between the lines, your fire system is not adequate at this time.
That's
So
what I got.
Come up with a new system.
Madam
I
President,
don't think about moving the fire location is gonna change anything, though.
Madam President, I'll make a motion to defer this for 30 days.
I'll second it, but.
Okay.
But I still would like, I've got a couple more things. Just like you say, last minute, I haven't had a chance to review these soil samples that you're talking about. But if your professionals are saying it's good enough to support, I'm just worried about a lot of peat being under your property. The other question that I had at the workshop would be addressed by Lake County more than anything, is what is Lake County Parks and Maintenance feeling on the amount of hardscaping you're doing versus all of the water that comes out of the prairie? Will it cause a problem with the outflow from the prairie? Again, we've talked about this many times. It's a very, very wet piece of property. I've known this property since I was a kid. And, I just find it'll support buildings, but will it create problems for the parks? And I think I had mentioned at the workshop, please get somebody from the county to comment on this, whether it be by direct correspondence or they show up at a meeting. I would really appreciate that. That's all I have, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, the last time you were here at the first workshop, you had someone from the county commenting on the parks. I believe he had lived close to the area with the water problem that you had. I'm kind of glad to see that you're taking care of some of this water, surface water, with the downspouts, and you're trying to alleviate a lot of the water. It'll be drained to a detention pond, which is fine. That looks good. But right now, I agree with the board. I think it should be deferred. The Lake County Parks should come again, and the fire system is not adequate at this time. So we've had a motion to defer. Is that fine with you?
1 sec.
Do we already have?
Yeah, I was a second.
Okay.
No, we're fine with that.
Okay, then you will probably be available for the next meeting, which should be, would it, 2 weeks from now be too early for you?
Workshop in January.
Or the workshop in January, would that be okay?
That will be too early,
Too early?
yes.
Okay, what are you looking at, preferably?
February,
February?
that will give some more time.
Okay. At
Madam
our
President, I'll-
workshop in February, maybe?
Yes.
Okay. What
I'll modify my motion, Madam President, for a 60-day deferral.
My second stands.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for a 60-day referral. A motion by Sean Pettit and a second by Brian Daring is, oh, you did the second, fine. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, motion approved, and we will see you at the deferral, at your deferral, in the meeting.
Thanks, guys.
In February. Thank you. Okay, the second item on our agenda is P13P, P1-1125. Kendall Property Group petitioner and Lake County Trust Company, trust number 4078 owner, located at 400 West 87th Avenue. Okay, the request preliminary planned unit development approval in a R5 medium-density multifamily residential zoning district on 17.15 acres. Purpose, a luxury multifamily residential development. All right.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. My name is Jeff Ban. I am with EVG Team, principal with the company, and co-chairman at 1155 Trotwine Road in Crown Point. And Gabby with our firm is passing out to you a couple of things. We're going to do a PowerPoint presentation here this evening. It's on the screen for the public to see. And because your back is turned to the screen, you have paper of what I'm going to go through this evening. This evening, we are joined with our illustrious, good-looking group of team here. Right to my left is Austin Carmody. He's part of the ownership of the Kendall Property Group, Vice President, and he'll be the one driving the project. His associate, J.R. Kendall, is the general contractor with Kendall Construction. The current property owner is Lake County Trust 4078, represented by the trust manager, Cliff Fleming, sitting in the front. And the property manager of this project is a national firm by the name of Ram Partners. They are not represented, but they manage tens of thousands, if not more than that, properties throughout the United States, including many in Indiana. Our project architect is sitting next to Cliff, Randy Sherman with Weaver Sherman, and our firm, DVG team, is the site civil designer on this project. Kendall Property Group, would you like to speak a little bit about what Kendall is about?
Absolutely. Thank you. My name is Austin Carmody, 5100 Charles Court, Zionsville, Indiana. Kendall Property Group is a family-owned company. It was originally founded by Max Kendall in 1988 that primarily was focused on construction. Over the years, build-to-suit, self-storage, and then later in the 90s got into multifamily development and construction. In 2005, J.R. Kendall joined the company, and in 2010, it was the company was renamed Kendall Property Group, with a few years later with a exclusive focus on multifamily development. I joined the company in 2020, and we have got a portfolio of approximately 3,700 units in Indiana, Michigan, Eastern Ohio, and Kentucky. This would be our 17th development in the Midwest of like, kind, scale, amenities, residents and customers. So this isn't a first-time development for us. This is what we do, and we've been doing it for years.
And on this list, you'll see a representative listing of multifamily projects that Kendall has done, showing the location, the quantity of units, anything from 180, 176 units to up past 300 units as well. And invite you on your leisure to go on to their website and take a look at some of these representative project locations, and you'll see the quality that's contained within them. As Madam Chairman represented in the announcement of the petition, this is in the 8700, it's on 87th Avenue in the 400 West block of 87th Avenue. It's between Broadway and Merrillville Road, as you can see on the screen and your paper on the north side. The project contains 17.16 acres that Lake County Trust 4078 owns. That was what we advertised for a public hearing. And the one thing I did not mention to you is that we're here tonight for a public hearing for the change of this property from an R5 to a planned unit development. All of the required documents per your PUD ordinance have been submitted. They were submitted back in October for the public hearing in November, and as you recall, we were deferred 30 days to address certain items, which we're going to go over here, those items that we have addressed here momentarily. The public notices were properly advertised in the local newspaper, and the certified mailings were properly sent out as well. The existing conditions of the site of the 17.16 acres, we've talked this many times, as you've heard from us over the course of the last several months. There's the A&R pipeline that bisects the site at an angle from the southwest to the northeast. So we've got kind of the north side of the pipeline property and the south side of the pipeline property. On the north side of the property, we have an existing storm sewer that zigzags its way through the property that's active and is used. It's in a dedicated easement, and it drains the Deerfield Center development that is adjacent and to the west of our site. There is a sanitary sewer on the south part of the property that services an existing townhome on the north side of 87th Avenue between Jackson and Monroe, and goes through the property and then eventually ties back into 87th Avenue. We have an existing wetland and stormwater pond that services the neighborhood of Westwood, Deerfield Center, the Deerfield Commons property, and a portion of the commercial area that is between Deerfield and Broadway. We were here before you in November proposing a project with 210 units. And what I have on the screen and on your paper is that original 210 unit plan. A lot of discussion was held with the town, with the public back 30 days ago. We have reviewed the project plans, heard what you said at the November meeting about the R5 zoning. Is currently medium density residential, has a maximum zoning density of 11 units per acre. And when you look at our 17.16 acres, that density maximum would be 188 units. So what we have done is we've modified the plan. We have a new plan now that has reduced the density from 210 units to 186. And I'm going to go back to the 210 unit plan and show you what we've done to change things. Up in the northeast corner of the project, up against the pond, there was a 24-unit building, and on the southeast corner of the project was a 10-unit building. With the new plan of 186 units, we changed the northeast corner from a 24-unit to a 10-unit building, and then we completely eliminated the 10-unit building on the southeast corner. And we did that for a number of reasons. We had heard also in the discussion from the public about the need for some kind of recreational park area in the community. We heard it from the councilman as well of that area. And so what we have done is we've dedicated, it's about a half an acre to 3/4 of an acre area that would be dedicated for park use, could be used for playground there that's adjacent to the southwest corner of the existing pond. So what we have done since our workshop 2 weeks ago, and we presented this change to you, we've amended our engineering and site plans to reflect that 186 unit change. And this is kind of the colored version that you can see on your PowerPoint. It kind of helps you very easily see what has been changed and where the public areas of park and the pond areas as well. Part of the park area was providing some parking along 87th Avenue, which we're going to talk a little bit more in our presentation about how that might work or not work. We've made the modifications to the storm sewer and grading plans, which we've submitted. We've had some discussions since that resubmittal a day or two ago with both the town engineering team and the town public works team, and it appears that the storm sewer and grading plan that we provided generally meets the requirements of the town. We are working with the stormwater department as well. What we have found in our investigation is that this pond that's existing, that currently services the entirety of all the subdivided lots that are there, all the existing residents, that the outlet pipe on the north side of this pond is pretty well plugged and non-functioning. And so we believe that this water level is about 2 foot higher today than it should be, and maybe that it was maybe 10 years ago. So in talking with our stormwater team, we're thinking that we're going to put in rather than trying to clean out the existing outlet pipe, we're going to put a new outlet pipe on the northwest corner of this site to drain it and put it at the proper elevation to create more capacity in this pond, so we would be lowering the normal water level that you see there today. And we're working through the details of those engineering components, and if we are fortunate enough to be approved tonight, then we will start to execute the details of that prior to our final plan submittal for your consideration. The same holds true with the sanitary sewer and the water main components of the project. We made the modifications that were necessary. The water main is 12-inch, leads into the site, and I think we've just have a distribution system of about 8 and 12 inches throughout the neighborhood, and we have an 8-inch sanitary sewer that ties into the existing sanitary sewer on the property just north of 87th Avenue. And again, as we've reviewed this with the engineering and public works team, the general addressing of service in terms of feasibility and capacity is sufficient and adequate to meet the site plan needs. We've also submitted a lot of details in terms of your building plans and the architectural plans, and I won't go into the floor plans, but we have a total of 9 10-unit buildings on the site. Each building is very well detailed with a lot of masonry and a lot of fiber cement board. Those are the 2 main building materials, and you can kind of see the darker areas are, the lighter tone. And I don't know if you can see my cursor, but the lighter tones here, the lighter browns, those are the masonry areas. And in the front elevations, you see a couple tower elements on both the left and the right-hand side, and also 2 stories on the left-hand side. The darker brown colors are the fiber cement board material. Every unit in this 10-unit building has an outside private patio and balcony. There are a total of 4 24-unit buildings, and again, not going into a lot of the detail in this presentation of what the floor plans consist of exactly, but elevation-wise and architectural, it's a combination of hip and gable roofs and both the 10 and the 24-unit. And again, the same thing holds true here. We have a significant amount of masonry brick on the site, on this building on the site, and it's combined and complemented with fiber cement board. There is no vinyl siding on this in any of these buildings. It's all masonry, concrete type products. And then also on the site is a clubhouse that provides common services for all residents. You can see the architecture of this. It's a single story, and I should back up. The 10-unit and 24-unit buildings both of them are 3-story buildings with 9-foot tall ceilings. The clubhouse itself is a single-story building with a lot of common amenities, we have some exterior images that you can kind of see some of the past projects that have been completed by Kendall that help define you can see the brick and the fiber cement board siding with trim details, and each units have large covered patios, insulated metal exterior doors provided for every unit, they have the gable and hip roof style with 3-tab fiberglass dimensional architectural shingles. You want to talk about the interiors? Why don't you talk about the interiors?
Excuse me, the development has 14 floor plans, so not cookie cutter approach to development. This is a thoughtful approach in each unit to create floor plan living that's great for our customers. Each unit has an open concept, transom windows, at least 9-foot ceilings, granite countertops with undermount sink, stainless appliances, glass electric cooktop, walk-in closet, full-size washer and dryer, granite vanity and garden-style tubs. Just some of the kind of global amenities here, contemporary floor plans, semi-custom cabinetry, energy efficiency, full-size washer and dryer, and then the concept of the kitchen is on your bottom left. It'd be a gourmet open concept type stainless. We've got a flooring, a luxury vinyl plank, and spacious walk-in closets with, just a thoughtful approach to a comfortable living space. Let's see if I hit. All right. This is a little overview of the amenities. Again, not only with the operations here, but the amenities are key for the resident experience. We've got a resort-style pool deck and amenity space, fire pit and grills, pergola area, which I kind of call the aqua lounge, which is the transitional area between the interior of the clubhouse and the pool deck. You can see the club room, 24-hour fitness, an automated package room, which is really a nice amenity so residents can grab their packages whenever they want. You'd have 24-hour access, and it also takes pressure off the management side, so they're not dealing with a lot of packages. It creates a framework, and the delivery service can get right into the unit, and then residents can get access whenever they want through electronic notification. Let's see here. These buildings have attached garages. This development's close to restaurants and shopping. We have complimentary Wi-Fi in common areas, the clubhouse, the parks, the dog park. We're gonna have beautiful views of the preservation area, which is the wetland views. We've gone to a lot of thought to orientate the buildings in a way that maximizes views of this great natural amenity. Site has easy access to local expressways, which you can get to employment sectors. That's a big positive for us. I mentioned outdoor pool, on-site professional management, which is a big deal for the resident experience, 24-hour maintenance, fitness center. That, is only possible with this size of development. And I mentioned outdoor grilling. A big thing is planned social activities, resident retention, keeping people there, and a lot of people move in, have a great experience, and stay for the long term, which is super important for our long-term management and ownership style. Garbage collection services in the front doors of all units, and that will be operated through a valet-type trash service provider.
So part of this middle was an updated unit mix. Many times questions have been asked of us, how many people will this generate? And on the left-hand side, you will see the estimated population. That the one-bedrooms are estimated to generate about 88 people, two bedrooms, 216 people, and three bedrooms, 18 people, for a total of 322 individuals. And I think that compares to about the 360 that we had, 360 plus that we had with the 210 units. Again, questions have asked us, and this is the consistent answer we've provided every month we've been here. One-bedroom units will range in lease rate from $1,300 to $1,700 a month. Three bedrooms, $1,600 to $2,000 per month, and three bedrooms, $2,200 a month. These are real numbers. These aren't fake numbers. These are the numbers that make the economics of the project work. And the economics of the project is that the project costs $40,800,000. That's our estimate right now. And so those are the lease rates that need to be charged in order to pay that capital, both equity and debt expense. And we estimate, we've looked at a couple of the apartment neighborhoods throughout the town of Merrillville on a per unit basis, what the property taxes are, and use that as a basis of estimating this project on a per unit basis, and it's about $500,000 in a total tax bill that would be paid per year. In summary, the project is a luxury multifamily housing community that will be here for the town. It's been designed with upgraded architectural standards. The development takes advantage of the natural site features, as Austin had talked about. It adds approximately 322 people to the community, which contributes to the tax and spending base of the community. A lot of people always talk about, I want this or I want that in terms of retailing opportunities, but a lot of those things don't happen unless there's people to come and participate in commerce at those places. Buildings are positioned to have garages facing inward. Took great pains to turn buildings so that anything you see from 87th Avenue is all in front of a building. You're not seeing a garage at all. So if you look at the site plan, you'll notice how that was strategically and consciously developed. The building location design is also focused on the natural site characteristics, as we mentioned. We have had a lot of discussion, and as I've told a few of you, offline, how surprised I am about the idea of only having one trash collection area. And we've gone back and forth internally about how we're going to address that, whether we put another collection area in or not. And the answer has been, again, to add to the luxury nature of being a tenant here, is that every resident, as part of their lease fee, their monthly payment, is that trash will be picked up at their front door. You take your garbage, you put it outside your front door and leave it there, and a valet contract service will pick it up, put it in their trucks, carry it to the single location of the trash compactor. That way, I think that does an even a better job of keeping contained plastics and paper that might be flying out of somebody else's car, 186 people's cars as they go there. So I think the quality control of managing trash and refuse through a valet service, contracted service, as part of your lease, that's what I think does probably the best job for management and ownership of the of the property, but also from the town. And I hope you find that to be in agreement as well. We've preserved the wetland environment. We've dedicated an area for a community park. We've designed, designs of the units are large, livable, open floor areas and floor plans. And the units have been designed for a wide variety of demographics, both, the 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms, from young people to people that might have living conditions that they're on their own again, and for empty nesters looking to downsize. So, the one thing that we've submitted also is a proposed findings of fact. You've got 2 documents that Gabby handed out. One was the PowerPoint, and the other one was the findings of fact that we submitted. And I don't know if I need to read those word for word or verbatim, or if that's just for your consideration. I think in talking with Sheila that the findings probably formally should be adopted as part of any final plan approval.
Were
So
those submitted beforehand?
I just submitted them for your review right now.
Okay, well, they'll be conditioned upon me reviewing them.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So we've kind of created the reasons why this is to the benefit of the property and the benefit of the town, and why we are meeting the ordinance requirements. Some points that I'd like to reinforce before we get into questions and answer and open a public hearing is that we reduced this property from 210 units to 186 units to meet the 11 unit per acre maximum. We were at 10.8, I think, if you did the actual calculation. We added a park area for playground and park equipment. And the park area and pond with walking nature trail is to be dedicated to the town as part of the planning process. And we get final, the pond and the park area will be dedicated, and you will eventually have the ownership, and the deed will be in the hands of the town. The parking for the park, we have put perpendicular to 87th Avenue. We have heard some comments that maybe that's not such a good thing, and so we would propose as part of our submitted plan to, between now and the final plan, is maybe adjust that perpendicular parking to parallel parking. There are certain examples in some of the other communities, and one very close by is a park called Collins Park in Crown Point, and you will see along Merrillville Road parallel parking that is used and used quite frequently and used safely. No reported concerns or accidents there. And Merrillville Road has a lot more traffic than 87th Avenue does. So I think we could look to change the perpendicular parking to parallel on the north side of 87th Avenue. Traffic has been identified as an issue, and the concern that maybe we need to have some decel lanes and maybe a turn lane. We have had discussions with that, about that with the town engineer and public works director. And we are going to be considering that if this moves forward, then we'll look at what we need to do to satisfy those concerns. Right now, that we did a traffic study, and traffic really isn't warranted. And I would tell you that if you go on Google Earth right now, and the June 6, 2024 photo of that area shows one car on the property, on 87th Avenue. So, I mean, there might be a lot of traffic there. But one of the things we also talked about is maybe not adding lanes, but maybe restriping. And one of the things about 87th Avenue, it's a wide road. And it is technically studied in engineering world, traffic engineering world, that wider roads promote faster traffic. So the idea about maybe striping the narrow lanes, visually you have a tendency of wanting to drive slower because you don't have a wide variety of veering left and right. So one of the things, if we were to do something, we might look at striping. So those are the things that we've been talking with Public Works and with town engineering about. So if we were to be approved, then we're going to dig into the details prior to any submittal for final of that. There was a concern, we've got about 5 or 6 parking spaces that are very close to 87th Avenue that point south near the entranceway. Concern about residents across the street seeing headlights in their side of their houses through their windows. So what we would be proposing to do in our final grading plan is create some berms and create some permanent screening, nothing that drops leaves, but something that's an evergreen that stays thick throughout all seasons. And our landscape plan will be updated to block and screen headlights to the properties to the south side of 87th Avenue. There was a concern that we have heard about Deerfield Center duplexes that are on Van Buren that are adjacent to us on the west side, and maybe I ought to go to the site plan. So these properties along Van Buren, we're concerned that some of the second and third stories will be able to see into the back of the houses here. What we have done, and you can see in the landscape plan, we have densely planted a screen, which is probably close to 1,000 feet north and south of evergreen trees. We think those are those trees that are going to be 20 to 30 feet tall eventually. But we would look to plant densely and also raise and mound that area to create a higher screen of planting so that as soon as possible, the tops of those trees will be in a line of sight that would not get to the top. So that's how we are addressing the concern that was brought up to us with regards to the backs of those homes being seen from the second and third floors of the proposed project. I did talk to you also about the drainage, about how we're working to lower the pond levels. We talked about the single compactor and how we're providing personalized service to the front door of every unit to collect and pick up trash. And I want to reinforce the quality of building materials we have here. And there's no vinyl on this property. And I think if you look at most of the homes across the streets and adjacent are pretty much majority, if not all of them, are vinyl with a little bit of accent masonry. So I think it's our opinion that the architecture is an upgrade and that is going to enhance property values of the neighborhood. I guess in closing, I think this fits in. This is a transitional area between Broadway and Merrillville Road, where you have on Broadway, you've got commercial and office locations. This is just a short step away from Merrillville's business district with all the offices and professional services and the Broadway Methodist Healthcare Campus. There's a great need for workforce housing in Northwest Indiana. Your comprehensive plan calls out for that kind of medium density, more medium density. Your comprehensive plan calls out for more medium density residential. And I think this is in a perfect location with existing zoning. We're asking this to be changed to a PUD so that the neighborhood adjacent to us can be assured that the quality is going to be there. And not just trust us based on we're building to the ordinance. Well, we're trying to build a little bit more than the ordinance. And we're asking you to have more regulatory authority on our building design. And a lot of that has already come to fruition through our dialogue that we've had over the course of the last couple of months with your Plan Commission and your staff. So we hope you've seen our efforts to try to assure the neighborhood that this is a use and a developer that wants to be a good neighbor and wants to add value to the community, not just in the entire town of Merrillville, but into the 87th Avenue neighborhood. So with that, I'm here, and Austin's here, and Randy Sherman's here, and Cliff's here, to answer, and Greg and Gabby are here to answer any questions you have technically, and open this up to public hearing and see if we can address any questions or concerns that come up too.
Take a breath, Jeff.
Thank you for not making me read the findings of fact, but I'll be ready to read it at our final.
Okay, that was a fine synopsis of everything, and now I will go to the board first. Questions, comments? Mr. Zweig.
I'd like to hear from the public comments first before I...
Okay, well, that'll come after us. Brian, questions, comments?
A lot to digest. I can see the value of the questions and answers that were asked before. I understand you had a public meeting with a number of the residents. Obviously, you've addressed a lot of the concerns. Some of the questions that I had, you've already answered. I was worried about those few spaces. If you leave this up, those spaces, nope. go back to the colored rendering.
Yeah, I was
please.
trying to blow it up so I
Oh,
could see a
okay.
little bit better.
The 5 spaces or 6 spaces that are facing 87th, making sure that that's screened properly.
Right here.
Right, and make sure that's screened properly so that no car headlights go into the people's homes to the south of you. I'm still concerned about a turn-in lane. I mean, I understand about the restriping, I understand how narrowing each lane will slow down traffic, it's just the nature of the beast. I believe if we go to engineering, streets, as well as the councilman of record, there's already been some movement on controlling the traffic better, on 87th. It's gone again. I was concerned about the parking for the park, the public parking for the park. People either trying to back out onto 87th or come straight out if you make it a back-in only area. I think going perpendicular would help a lot with an exit
mean
lane.
parallel?
Sorry?
You mean going parallel?
Yeah, going parallel instead of perpendicular, with an exit lane, so that they could come out through an actual exit, so that there would be a blockade, people couldn't just whip out onto 87th out of the parking spaces themselves. You answered my questions that I've had many times on the trash collection. We've kind of gone round and round of that for a while. Making it an amenity for the units helps a lot, you know. Especially, look at the weather we just had, 9 degrees, 20 below wind chills. People are reticent to throw stuff in their car and drive over to a compactor. The fact that you would have valet kind of solves that problem. I would like to see, as far as your berming and your use of greenery, I'd like to see you use a lot of native species. I understand you want to go with evergreen. Even if you were to plant oak trees, I mean, they're gonna drop their leaves in the wintertime, and, it would still just be bare trees. I like the idea of evergreens, but a lot of the developers use nothing but fuchsias and kind of what I consider a garbage tree for their plantings. I'd like to see you use one of the recognized places that has native species to the area, whether it be JF New, Possibility Place, one of the guys that, plants stuff that we know is gonna live in Northwest Indiana. We know there's gonna be no maintenance because it's native to the area and would still afford a beautiful planting rather than just a row of, how many ever, 100 of the same trees, Let's see, if I covered I covered the D-cell lane, and the, like I say, in those 5 areas of parking. Other than that, it looks like you've heard what, the town had to say. It looks like what you've heard what the neighbors had to say. And if they have other questions, I'd be, interested to hear them. It comes later, ma'am, when we open the public hearing. So, that being said, I really have nothing else. They've kind of
Okay,
answered
thank
the
you.
questions.
Okay, Brian, let's continue with the board. Mr. Mallon, what do you have to say?
A lot of my questions, comments, and concerns have been touched on.
Good.
However, like Mr. Swike, I'd like to hear from the public.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Pettit?
Jeff, the details of this valet trash collection. Is this outside of the buildings, or is this gonna be outside my door in the hallway?
Outside your door in the hallway.
In the hallway. Might wanna think about that, guys. Somebody shows up, doesn't collect that, and it sits there for 1 or 2 days. I don't know, I'm just devil's advocate, guys. Here's my bigger question to Steve and Councilman Bella. 87th Avenue, how many stop signs do we have on 87th Avenue, Steve, from Merrillville Road to Broadway? One? And do we put our speed bumps on 87th Avenue? Again, observations from a guy who's outside. I turn to my colleague on the council and to Steve. Is that something to consider? I look at the layout here of, which I believe is Monroe, lines up with your entrance, Jeff. Do we put a four-way stop there?
Madison.
Is it Madison? I'm sorry, it's cut off.
Yeah, it's at Madison. There's several different options we could look at. You could even look at some.
Yeah, Madison.
Some traffic calming measures.
Yep.
like Jeff alluded to, the narrowing of the lanes and things like that tends to slow down traffic.
Yep.
That's something that, we could, definitely look at in that area, to slow that traffic down.
Yep.
Part of your comprehensive plan
That's it?
calls out a major pathway in the overhead power easement, and maybe you move that in terms of the execution of that, maybe it becomes part of the 87th Avenue, and you got the complete streets where you've got road vehicles and bikes, that's part of it too. So, I mean, part of the consideration.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Now, my question is on that garbage pickup, the valet service, will you have a contract with them where they come out so many days a week, et cetera?
Yeah.
Et cetera?
It's no different than any other contract service, landscaping, snow removal. I mean, the property will have several of those types of contracts with a reputable company that comes out 5 to 7 days a week. And, if they don't perform, then you get a new one. It's-
Well, I appreciate that you addressed that issue on the garbage. That was a pretty big question here. Now, what I do like is where you reduced the 210 units to 186 units, I believe, for the park. And that'll put 2 parks in there with the dog park also, correct? Okay, a lot of people are calling and they want dog parks, so I think that's a plus for you too. So now in the meantime, let's go to the public for, well, wait, I'm sorry. Steve and Bob, do you have anything else
Staff
to
report also.
to mention?
Well, one thing I'd like to add in at this time, I've been in this business for 25 years,
Yes,
been doing VZA and Plan Commission advisory, in the advisory capacity. I've never heard of a luxury valet service for your garbage. So I'm a little bit new to that, so that's why I
Yeah,
had never
it's a
heard.
service.
I have never heard of it in my life.
Well, I'm happy to send you links to several companies. We'd go through a RFP type process, interview, pick, the best out of several national operators. It's a national amenity in the multifamily industry.
Okay. Well, no, that'd be great, so I can educate myself, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
well, that's.
And
why-
again, that'd be built into the rental cost?
It's a so you have $12 a door for your trash fee on your bill. And this would be part of that lease payment, but it's separate than your actual lease.
Okay.
It's just
Okay,
like
so
a utility payment. It's, we charge for trash, we're still charging for trash.
Okay.
And what about the conservancy payment? Will that be in the rental payment or is that separate?
You said conservancy?
The conservancy payment, which I know comes once a month for me.
That utility bill, along with water, I think, right? That's part of the rent that you pay.
Oh, that will be included in the rent.
No, water will be metered separately.
Pardon?
Water would be,
Yeah, and
but
then
sewer.
electric's another bill, obviously metered separately. And then sewer, right, and then you'd have your trash fee and then your rent.
Okay, so that's not included with the valet service for the garbage, the conservancy,
No,
the payment.
it'll be an additional charge.
Okay, well, what about our engineers,
Engineers and
Robert
staff.
and Steve?
So.
Do you have some comments here?
I just got a couple things. I think it's a great project. We met with, Jeff and Greg and Gabby, yesterday, I believe. We had a Zoom meeting, addressed, some drainage things, some pipe issues. We got the traffic analysis yesterday. We haven't looked at it yet, but we got it yesterday. But, I think the project's, moving forward nicely.
And just to add on to that, depending on the direction this evening, we'll be looking more in detail at the civil plans and, due to the changes and things that have been addressed as they've listened. So we'll be going through the plans and stormwater calculations very thoroughly.
Okay, thank you. Okay, at this moment then, I will open this.
Councilman of the area.
Pardon?
How about the councilman of the area?
Well, they addressed that. They said that they spoke with them.
How about the reports,
Yeah, staff report.
Madam President,
Yeah.
staff report?
Okay, we will have the staff report then.
Petitioner is requesting preliminary plan unit development approval in a R5 medium-density multifamily residential zoning district on 17.15 acres. The proposed development, Deerfield Commons, will be served with sanitary sewer, curb, and gutter streets, common water, storm sewers, and street lights. The petitioner was deferred on November 18, 2025. A community meeting was scheduled on Thursday, December 11th at 6 p.m. at the Dean and Barbara White Community Center to address concerns and provide information on the development.
Thank you, Sheila.
Madam President, I just want to remind my colleagues and even the general public, keep in mind, folks, this is an R5 current zoning district. The use they're asking for is a permitted use. And we talked about this at the workshop, and I'm sure it was brought up at the community meeting, that we're benefiting, and I look to Brian, because you always quote the ordinance, a PUD should benefit the town of Merrillville, correct?
Benefit the town and its
And the
residents.
developer.
Yeah.
If we don't do the PUD, we may not get that benefit. They can come in and build, and Sheila would be required to give them building permits in the R5 zoning district, correct, Mr. Svetnoff?
Correct.
So we're trying to do this PUD and get some amenities from the developer that we probably might not normally get in just a regular subdivision, R5.
Okay, well, with that, I
Madam
think
Chair,
We can open the,
I
do we
will,
want to,
yeah.
sorry,
do we want to hear anything from Council President, Mr. Bella?
Bella, Mr. Bella.
Oh,
He's in attendance.
oh, Mr. Bella, did you care to comment? Thank you. Okay, he wants to hear from the residents, all right? So in the meantime, I will open this up to public hearing.
Okay,
And when you step up to the microphone, state your name and address and your comment or question, okay?
being an advertised public meeting, you have 3 minutes to comment.
Right, 3
All
minutes.
comments, all criticisms, all comments for or against this project to be directed to the chair, all questions directed to the chair, and she will turn to the appropriate resource, whether it be engineering, staff, legal, or the developer.
But it's public comment, it's not public question.
Right. Yeah.
You don't have to answer the question.
Good evening. My name is Jan Stoller, and I live at 8717 Monroe Street. When I first came to the meeting here, I was adamantly opposed to this. I have talked with Cliff several times, and I have found Cliff and the other developers to be very amenable to listening to our questions and very responsive to what we have suggested. I've heard a lot of talk here about traffic control on 87th, and I've heard about striping the streets. I think one easy way to eliminate part of the problem would just be to widen the egress from 87th onto Broadway, make a dedicated right turn lane so that people can make that right turn without having to wait for people that are trying to go straight or make the left turn. But 87th Street is the big bottleneck and seems to be the big bottleneck question for here. I realize that they have tried to get access to 86th Street and say that that's blocked off. But that shows that they have been amenable to looking at our concerns. As was said, we can't legally block this or prevent their construction. So the best thing we can do is work together with them. I have one neighbor who asked me about fire hydrants. What type of fire protection is going to be going into that property? Are they going to be adding more fire hydrants down there? Another question that's come up has been with width of 87th Street and school buses stopping. Right now, they do not go down our side streets. They do not go down Madison and Monroe. They stop on 87th to pick up children and drop them off. What is going to be the procedures once these new buildings get in? Is there going to be a spot for school buses to stop? We also have a problem when things like garbage trucks try to get down 87th Street, picking up just garbage on the street It's not going to get lighter. Traffic's only going to get worse. But as I said, I want to commend them for working with us, because otherwise they could just come in here and get their permits. So I'd like the board to take that into consideration. Most of our questions seem to have to do with policing, fire protection, and the streets. Addressing possibly a separate issue, I'm not sure, but I have heard that a new fire station is going in on Colorado at 93rd. There is no way to get a fire truck from Colorado across to Broadway or Merrillville Road. You have the church property at Mississippi where 93rd Street dead ends. I would rather see a fire station come in someplace in our neighborhood to service all the population going in between Main Street and Broadway and all the way up to Route 30. We have very few amenities south of Route 30, and I think that needs to be addressed by the Planning Commission before you go much further in putting in anything south of Route 30. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next.
I'm Sue Scowden, 467 West 89th Place. Let's see here. So I'm concerned about the garbage. Is it going to be like, is the valet service daily? Or is there going to be a bin? Because while we were here, I Googled it, and I couldn't find any valet concierge garbage services in our area. So is the garbage going to be sitting out front? And they said the buildings are going to be facing 87th. So are we going to, as driving by, because to get to my house, I can turn on Madison or Monroe, but Monroe dead ends into my driveway. When I pass those buildings, am I going to see people's garbage out on their stoop? Or will it go into a bin? The evergreens you mentioned, because I have, some friends that live on Van Buren, and then also neighbors that live, about the light shining off 87th. How long is it going to take for them to grow to 20 feet tall? So people on the third floor are not staring into bedrooms where people expect privacy. I noticed a lot is going to be paid in property tax. Does that mean, is it possible our property tax will decrease as residents? Let's see here. What else do I have? You guys mentioned the dog park would be used for, we could use that as for residents. What about the pool? Jan had mentioned, south of 30, there's very little, services, and it's true. Even when they built that White Center, they didn't put in a pool, and that would be nice. Also, is this going to be HUD approved? Because that wouldn't be great for the neighborhood, even though they do have all that stone work. Let me see, I think I have. Yeah, I think that might be all my concerns, just the garbage, the trees. Oh, one thing. There's endangered species that live in that pond area. I've done research on that. And so just wondering if there's any concern for those animals. There's a turtle and I forget the name of the bird. But if you like, I can look it up really quick. I forget the name of the turtle. So the Blanding's turtle. What will be done with those? Or will there be space for them to live? And then, so that's basically it. So hopefully, sounds like they're gonna build no matter what. And if they are, I would just really appreciate to be able to use the pool and the dog park since I have 2 dogs, and I don't want lights being shined in my neighbors' houses. And I don't want to see garbage all over the place either.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? He's speaking. I have some.
I didn't see.
State your name and address, please.
Dwayne Alverson, 463 West 89th Place. Yeah, I live in the Westwood Association there, and lived there since 1996. And I think you've addressed one of my concerns with the drainage. After the last meeting we had at the community center was the outlet to that pond, and it sounds like you're going to address that, or at least look at that. But since I've lived there, I really haven't noticed, we haven't had any drainage problems in our neighborhood. As far as the buses coming through there, I do recall seeing buses coming through our neighborhood, down Madison and Monroe. And I'm glad to see you're gonna look at the parking there along 87th for the park. I think the parallel parking would be a better solution. I have seen what you're talking about on Indiana Avenue or Merrillville Road. That seems to work quite well. And then as far as the traffic on 87th, you know, I've been there 30 years. I've never had an issue pulling out onto that road. I've never had to wait more than a few seconds, more than 2 cars coming by. You know, the profession I work in, we try to follow the manual on uniform traffic control devices when we install additional stop signs or put in turn lanes and stuff like that. So I'd encourage you, I'd like you to take a look at that. I'm not a proponent of installing stop signs in my profession to control speeding, nor am I a big fan of speed bumps or speed humps. So thank you for your consideration. And I do like the looks of this project, so thank you very much.
Good, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else? Well, the public hearing is now closed, and thank you all for coming. And I do appreciate the developer trying to work with the public on this.
Well, I think the developer has some.
Do you have something else to say?
I'm here if you want to have me answer any of the questions that, or issues that were brought up.
Well, I think what was brought up was the garbage, the valet service. That is very questionable. The buses going down the street. And I have a question about the pool now. Will you have a lifeguard on duty there?
Tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer a couple of the
Sure,
external
go right
questions.
ahead. I just
I'm gonna
thought
let,
I'd throw that out now, too.
Austin answer the operational questions. One thing that was brought up too is fire hydrants. There will be a lot of fire hydrants, and I can't remember the number that we have shown in our preliminary plan, but all of these buildings are going to be fire protected. They will have fire protection, water line services going directly into it to have those things sticking up out of the ceiling. So if something happens, that unit's going to get wet. But in addition to that, outside will be multiple fire hydrants, and we will be sitting down with your fire chief to make sure that how he's going to attack and fight fires. We'll make sure we put fire hydrants to address his strategy for fighting fires. Regarding school buses, it's my expectation and my experience is that any children that would be generated from this project would have to walk down the main entry drive and get picked up at the Madison Street intersection. That's where the main entry is, that's where the clubhouse is at, and that no school buses will be driving into the development. It would stay on 87th, and that's not much of a walk for most of those kids. Regarding the garbage, again, I'm going to let Austin speak to the service of that, as well as the pool use and questions you had on the pool.
So, yeah, the valet trash is a professional service. We'll go through a process to hire the right company. The one we've looked at is advertising national-wide coverage. I think I've mentioned in prior meetings, we've normally done centralized trash and have been very successful with that. The property is not dirty, there's not trash everywhere. In our experience, when you have lots of trash, they're a problem. So this is gonna be our first, and this isn't like we're doing this because you're asking us to. We've considered doing valet trash on other developments. So, but it's gonna, this is you take $15 a unit times 186 units. I mean, that's a big revenue stream for a company to operate and pick up the trash. So, regarding pool, No lifeguards at any of our pools. You know, it's a private pool like you'd have in your home. I think, you know, that's more of a you know, a state or city code. I mean, so I've not seen that in a situation, none of our developments in Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky have lifeguards. Just maybe the reason's similar to your, you wouldn't have a pool at your house. It's privately owned, and you're responsible to manage it, which like you would manage other aspects of the development. It's closed at certain hours. You know, the fob access that gets you in the clubhouse 24 hours or the parcel pending you can't get in the pool. Yeah, if, you know, and that's how you manage that. So typically you've got management there, when the pools operate, or allowed to be open, and it's locked down from there. And then on the valley trash, but 5 to 7 days a week, pickup.
You know, we live in a society that your phone could buy you anything you want. You can order food from wherever and get it delivered to your front door. Knock, knock, knock. You can have someone come while you're working to come to your house to walk your dog. So, I mean, valet service is something we've heard about. We have, like Austin, have had clients that have explored it but haven't done it. But I think, again, we want to reinforce the luxury nature of this neighborhood, and we think this is a service that does just that, helps to differentiate this property from anything else in Merrillville and in Northwest Indiana, quite frankly. So we think this is a very strong niche amenity that will help us position our property in a higher level of regarding the competition. So.
Very good.
I'm Randy Sherman with Weaver Sherman Design, address 6201 North Carrollton Avenue, Indianapolis, Indiana. We're the architect for the project, and to clarify a couple of things, does the mouse work here for appointment? The trash centralized location is right here, and this enclosure has a masonry wall that is 6.5 feet high around the compactor unit. And you actually have to zigzag walk between the masonry walls to get to it. So it's fully enclosed and has a gate on the pickup side that keeps it enclosed. The compactor unit itself, when you put trash into it, is covered. So once the trash goes into the chute, it's inside a metal enclosure with a cover, and it is cycled several times throughout the day to compact the trash and keep it tight inside that unit. They have maintenance staff on site. This is the maintenance building. They have windows in this building, and they have a clear line of sight view towards the trash unit to keep monitoring it throughout the day to make sure it stays clean, because they want their facilities to look nice for the residents. The trash is picked up just outside the door of each unit along the common corridor, so the trash stays inside the building till the valet service comes to the resident's door to pick it up. It's carried outside the building into the trash compactor unit directly by the concierge people. So there should not be standing trash visible outside any of the buildings or structures on day of trash pickup. They are just putting it outside the door. They're given a time to do that in the morning, and it's picked up that morning and brought directly to the enclosure. The other advantage of doing a compactor is that it requires less pickup cycles from the trash truck, so there are less trash visits to the site by the garbage truck. And when they remove the compactor and install the next compactor unit for the dumpster, it keeps the trash contained inside that sealed unit, so there's less opportunity for trash to blow out of the truck when it leaves the site. So for those reasons, we have found that a centralized compactor unit keeps a much cleaner site than open dumpsters and less trash visits by the trash truck on site. So we have found that it actually is a way to manage the trash in a much cleaner way on these sites. Thank you.
Property. I'm a little bit like Joe.
maybe we grew up, my wife and I spent 6 months in an apartment, and we had a bench outside our door, and we thought, hey, that's cool, you could sit down on it and take your shoes off, not knowing that that's where you put your garbage, and it was picked up every day. I've never seen that before. And it's indoors. It's picked up every day. It was a great amenity that we appreciate. I never heard of it either, Joe, until I got down there, and now the
Thank
fact
God
that
I'm not
doing
the
it
only
here.
one, Cliff. 'cause-
Huh?
Thank God I'm not the only one, Cliff.
No,
So,
I'm with you, Joe.
Madam President, back to the pool, Jeff and Austin. Sheila, our ordinance outside the PUD requires a 6-foot fence, does it not, on
Yes.
pools?
Around the, they have one on
It'll
there.
definitely be.
You have a wrought iron fence around the
Yes,
pool?
that's a state code.
That's
All right.
yeah.
not only state code, but their insurance company.
Yeah,
Just to reiterate for the residents and the uses of the pool and safety.
Did you gentlemen say that also you would need a fob to get into that, to have access to that?
Sure.
Okay.
Plus, in the picture, it showed the fence around.
Okay.
So that should.
Is there anything in our ordinance book, even though it's, you can call it a private pool because it belongs to the complex, there is still a possibility in the summertime, you could have 50 people, 100 people surrounding that pool on the decks. Is there anything in our code that would require them to have a lifeguard on duty?
So the Lake County handles the pools for the residential developments.
Okay.
So that is something that they would have to apply for. Lake County will come out and inspect and make sure that they're keeping up. And also Lake County would take any kind of complaints about the pool.
And I can add some detail to this too. The state of Indiana has a swimming pool code that we're following with the design. And this is it's a Class B pool under that code that is for private apartment community use only. And the size of the surface of the water area and the size of the surface of the enclosed fenced pool deck determines your occupant load by square foot of those surfaces, and there's ratios that you use for that based on the classification of pool that you're using. So those determine our occupant load, so it is a maximum occupant load for that. That also requires us to size the number of restroom facilities we have adjacent to the pool in the clubhouse. So that is all regulated by state code.
Did you say that was Class B or Class D?
I believe it is Class B, but I'll need to verify that.
No problem.
Yeah.
So Lake County we would issue the permit for the pool, but Lake County would come out and inspect it. They will give you the occupancy, and all of that is done by Lake County. And when you renew every year to open your pool back, that's all done by Lake County.
Lake County what, Sheila? Lake County who?
In Crown Point,
I know, but which department? Who are you speaking of that is coming
the
out?
building department,
The building.
yes.
That's what I wanted the public to hear. Okay, with all that being said, it looks like the developers has made their changes, and they've been working with our engineers and our traffic study too. So, with all that being said, what about any more comments? What about from Mr. Bella, the town councilman there?
Steve and I will get together and talk about 87th Avenue and what we can do there. We have some time to work on that, so
Okay,
we will.
that sounds good.
What
Any
is
more-
the timetable?
Pardon?
The timetable?
Well, what about
As
the
far as-
timetable?
No, when are they gonna start? When do they wanna break?
Well, I don't think they're gonna be able to start till we give them the PUD,
Right.
right? So, and plus, Mr. Bella wants to go over some issues with the engineers. So I don't think that they are going to be able to start right away, Brian.
I understand that, but I was just asking if.
Oh, you
if-
wanna know about
if
the
they get their-
timetable?
Right.
Do you have anything in mind for a
Yes, we,
timetable?
as part of our PUD required submittals, we submitted a schedule that started our construction in June of 2026.
Okay.
So
that is-
6+ months from now. We're about a month or so off because of our deferral in November, but we'll see if we can get caught up, and if we don't, we don't. But the idea is that if we were to receive approval for the preliminary PUD tonight,
Sure.
then we will be doing is going hard and heavy in the next month or two, creating all the detailed design to submit for your town team to review. And we would submit an application and try to get in front of you in February-ish, March. That's what our goal would be for a final PUD approval. And if we were to get a final PUD approval then your commission would forward it on to the town council in ordinance form, and then the town council would look to take action and change the ordinance, the zoning ordinance, to make this a PUD with an R5 underlighting zoning. So,
Well, then that begs the question, Madam President, and Brian's question. Steve and Bob, have they met all 18 items of the preliminary PUD?
Yes.
Okay, so final PUD is the ordinance, the covenants, and the Mylar.
yeah, and you're exactly right. And the finalization of the details of the engineering, we submitted details of engineering, but we've had a number of things that we've discussed that we need to adjust and address.
So do we need to, if we make a motion, Steve and Bob, do we need to make it condition? Joe brought up a condition on the findings of fact
Well, upon my review and acceptance of the findings of fact.
is one condition.
Right.
And then do we need another condition, guys, on the engineering and that for Jeff to finish?
No, there's nothing conditional on the engineering. I mean, everything that we've discussed in our meetings and we've asked them to do, they've done. So it's moving forward. So, yeah, I don't think there's anything conditional as far as engineering.
So do you want to be on the January Plan Commission, Jeff?
Oh, we won't be able to do that. We're in the middle of January. We need to submit in the next day or two for final application. So we've got some, yeah, we're thinking February.
February.
February's our goal.
So then we would see you at the council in March.
That's our goal.
So Brian, that answers the second or fourth Tuesday in March, depending on council president's agenda.
Okay, Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve P13PP1-1125 pursuant to the legal review of the findings of fact, getting a positive review from our legal representation.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by Mr. Brian Daring for item P1-1125 upon the conditions that were stated with the engineers and Mr. Balla too, who will meet with them, I presume, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, there's a second on the floor by Mr. Jeff Swike for P13PP1-1125. All in favor, voice vote?
No.
Roll call.
Roll call vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Secretary, take the roll call.
Mr. Swike,
Yes.
Mr. Pettit,
Yes.
I myself am a yes. Vice President Daring,
Yes.
and Madam Chairman Yuzel.
Yes.
That's 5 yeses.
Good, motion approved, and we hope to see you developers back in March, I think you said?
February and March.
Okay, well, we will be
And I'd like to
looking
really-
forward to meeting with you again. Thank you.
I'd
Thank
really
you very
like to
much. If I
thank the
can, I always like
developers.
to say at this time of the year, may God bless you and your family
Well,
with a
thank you
loving
very
and Holy
much.
Spirit-filled Christmas this season. So thank you very much.
Thank you too, and you have a good holiday.
Yep.
Okay, let's continue on with our agenda. Let's go to new business. Ready, council members?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. P14PP2-1225, Rossman Partners LLC petitioner and Schilling Brothers Lumber and Hardware and Rose and P. Ivanovich owners, located at 7990 East 81st Avenue and 7725 East Lincoln Highway. The request preliminary planned unit development approval in a C3 highway commercial zoning district on 11.28 acres. Purpose, to allow a retail C-store with fuel flex warehouse. Okay, I know you've been here at our workshop, So do you want to repeat what you've said before and whatever else you have?
Sure. Ryan Torringa, Torringa Engineering, 907
Sure.
Ridge Road. Ross Brown was the one who headlined the study session, so I'm not going to do as good of a job as he did. But one update I do have for you all, I'm going to pass out here. We have a sketch plan showing the NDOT improvements that have been asked for. So we did up a sketch of the line work and a highlight of some of the items that they had asked for. Oh, sure. So this is the pretty much the only change to any of the plans from when we were here for the sketch session. It shows there were 4 main items that NDOT was looking for. Right turn off of US 30 of a certain length. A left turn, an extension to the left turn lane.
Mr. Torringa,
Yes.
we received a letter from Advent from Mr. Ross Brown dated October 11, 2025, and they requested to defer.
In October they sent that?
No, it
Okay,
says
I was gonna say, December.
Yeah.
They scheduled, they requested to defer at this time.
It would have been very nice for them to tell us that.
Well,
That's all I can say. So I guess we're done here.
What
But
I'm
you can-
saying is, if the petitioner has requested a deferral, at this time, we need to honor the deferral, and maybe Mr. Torringa can get with Mr. Brown and see what's going on.
No, absolutely.
I didn't want you to get too,
sitting the
I didn't want you to
entire
get too far into your presentation,
Yeah.
and then I say, oh, you're deferred, and then you come back and do another one, so.
I would have been supposed to done
Okay,
anyway.
we're
All we
going to
really
need
had
a
was
motion
PennDOT stuff.
then, if they want to defer.
I was wondering why you're sitting back there rambling.
Would I have a motion for a deferral?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor from Mr. Brian Jerry and a second from Sean Pettit. We need a voice vote on that?
Madam President, just for clarification, Ryan, you might want to hear this because obviously there's unfortunately a breakdown in communication. Happens to be in my ward. Steve and Bob and I met with Ross about not necessarily the NDOT improvements, but the Randolph improvements. And Madam President, we're going to discuss this tomorrow night in our workshop. There is a proposal that Bob has come up with to give them the best alternative for Randolph. Do we fill in the low spot and raise it all up, or do we take the 2 humps out? Because I've said all along, Ryan, I'm not going to support this, and Ross knows this, until improvements are made to Randolph Street. Now, Randolph is our existing road, so I kind of feel, talking to my colleagues, Bob's given me a proposal. I need to ask them tomorrow night about, the town paying for the engineering, and then you guys paying for the actual construction or reconstruction of sections of Randolph.
Okay.
So Ross knew, and that's when I knew he was gonna defer, and I apologize, they didn't contact you, but I knew, Madam President, this was getting deferred until we can decide and Bob can tell them, this is what the town wants to see, this is the best alternative. Right, Bob?
Yes.
So we'll talk about that tomorrow night, Madam President. So
Okay, then.
that being said, we have a motion and a
We have a
second.
motion and a second on the floor for the deferral.
Yes.
Okay.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Ryan.
Okay, we have a voice vote on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes for the deferral. Thank you. Continuing on with the agenda, item 4, P15FP1-1225, Randy Hall petitioner and Hall Family Properties LLC owner, located East Whitcomb and 87th Avenue, south of 84th Place, west of Taney Street, and north of 89th Avenue. The request, a final plan unit development approval of Liberty Estates Phase 8 on 50.357 acres in a planned unit development. The purpose is to allow residential development.
Madam President?
Yes, what is it, Sheila?
Although Mr. Hall is in the audience, he did send me a letter asking to defer, and I'm going to read it. It says, Sheila, please defer Phase 8 at the Plan Commission for 30 days to allow engineering to finish. Please advise what next dates will be. Regards, Randy. So-
Okay, since you got the letter for a deferral, can I have a motion on the floor to defer item P15, FP1-1225, Randy Hall petitioner?
I'll make a motion to defer it.
I second the motion.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Chris Mallon, seconded by Jeff Swipe. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay.
Why did you sit through this, Randy?
Thank you.
You got nothing better to do?
You
You
wanna
come
see
up,
some-
you
you wanna
come up
see-
here and I'll go home.
You want to see some good, you want to see some good plan commission lawyering guides.
Well, after 25 years, I hope so.
Well, I've never seen luxury valet trash.
Luxury valet trash.
Okay, before we adjourn, is there any other business, board members?
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Happy New Year, too.
That's right.
God bless
Could I
us,
have a-
Tiny Tim.
Could I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for attending. Happy holidays.